I've been giving it some thought and nothing really makes sense. Religion doesn't make sense. Math doesn't make sense. Society doesn't make sense. Some Joker shit, but for real, I don't make sense. Most people seem to make sense, but it's all a front, really. You see, I've been thinking about my shortcomings for a long time now. Ever since I was younger, I've always been more self aware than most of my friends. I mean, at least I think I am. No one really seems to tell you what they really think, but I've always known that I like to punish myself for wanting to have fun. Uh, so, instead of having to do my homework or playing video games, I pick neither and I just punish myself by doing nothing. I know I'm afraid of success. I know I'm scared to actually reach my limits and see that I'm good at something and having to push myself. But I have to pick, do I want to be successful or do I just want to be afraid of success and be a fucking nobody? We're quick to disprove religion. God doesn't exist because this or that, because we're frightened by the idea that we don't have free will. We call it ridiculous to believe in the existence of a higher being. But for me, it has been liberating, believing there's a higher power looking out for me. Even though most people are atheists nowadays, it just maybe doesn't make sense for some people, and it's okay. I mean, fuck, I don't really believe in maths. I think it's a bunch of bullshit, but hey. But the point is that even though I may have all these fears of success, my self-punishment for trying to have fun and other stupid flaws, it's okay as long as you know that you have problems. You can always fix them. You can always start to repair some of the damage. You can't really procrastinate on these inner demon type of problems like you can with the essay that you have to write for uni or the homework for next Monday. There are times when you don't have a reason to exist, and to me that doubt of existence is the entire reason for our existence. I honestly hate the notion of bettering yourself every day because, come on, it's simply just not fucking possible. You would end up living a nightmare where you try to optimize every fucking minute because it needs to be better than yesterday. We all know that it doesn't make sense, but we understand the underlying meaning of this saying. We all have to periodically better ourselves so we grow. We all intuitively know this is more like a sinus function or sinus function. I don't know how you call it. I honestly hate that I'm using math as an example, but it goes up and down. There are cycles to this shit, yin and yang kind of stuff. I really am turning into a fucking hippie. It's the same with training. I'm sure you've seen a TikTok of this Olympian girl that talks about how you should be feeling when training. It's like 1/3 of the time you're training, you should be feeling great. 1/3 of the time you should be feeling okay. And 1/3 of the time you should be feeling crappy. That's if your training is going perfect. If it's always great, you aren't pushing yourself and you aren't doing anything hard. If you're always crappy, then you're going too hard and maybe you should dial it down. But I like that train of thought because even when training is perfect, it's kind of circuit wired into us to feel shitty at least for some period of time. I mean, if you're always happy, then are you actually happy or in a state of numbness or delusion and you're just mistaking it for happiness? I mean, the way I sort of like to think about it is those Instagram reels where you're actually just watching TikTok but through Instagram, they make me feel, I suppose, happy. I mean, I laugh at what I'm looking at. Therefore, I'm happy, right? However, if I do it for too long, I start to feel like shit. Therefore, no bueno. Not real happiness then. But social media enjoyment is not the same as building real relationships with people, right? And yeah, that's true. That's very much true. It's actually better to have people to actually talk to. But even when you're a social animal and you're going out there and you're meeting people and you're having a lot of friends, there are points when I just need to be alone in order to understand what it feels like to be alone and then compare that to what it feels like to be with someone. So again, contrast is really what matters here. Or maybe humans just need to feel like shit in order to be alive, to have a reason to go forward. See, our own nature doesn't even make sense, but it kind of does when you think about it, but it kind of doesn't when you really think about it. Don't do something for too long, do some hard shit, and season your food once in a while, and you should be fine. There will be times in our lives when nothing makes sense. You aren't making progress in the gym, you're failing classes, or maybe you're getting fired or some shit, I don't know. The girl you like doesn't seem to like you back, or you're caught up with your own bullshit psychology. You fucking burnt your toast. You're at the bottom of the mountain and there's a fucking thunderstorm. You're drenched, your socks are wet, and you're fucking cold. But eventually you will reach the summit and the sun will shine and you'll fucking be warm. And you will be smiling at that point, and then everything will finally make sense. Finally, you will say, feels good, man.